Hey! What the heck do you think you're doing here, Minnie? Excuse me? Actually, I better start with, you're still alive? I had no idea. I thought you dropped off the face of the earth. What do you want? What do I want? I should be the one asking you that question, don't you think? Don't tell me you came to try and get your man back. Because if so, I got some bad news for you, sis. George and I are already married. He and I are husband and wife, and there is nothing you can do about it. You know, he doesn't even think about you anymore. There's nothing you can do to come between us. Anything you try would just be the futile, sad attempt of a scorned woman. Well, I don't plan on doing anything anyways, so… But man, I am just so surprised to see you again. And in my own apartment building of all places. What were you doing there? We ran into each other at the entrance of the building, and then it struck me. I haven't seen you since I stole your husband from you and kicked you out of your own home. And because you were a housewife who never held a job, you didn't have any savings and ended up homeless on the streets. Yes, Alexa. Thank you so much for putting into words what we both know happened 7 years ago. But you just got one detail wrong. I had worked before, and I had enough experience to find a job. What? What are you talking about? Is that true? It is. And 1 week after you ruined my life, I had already found a job and a place to live. Okay. So? I really don't need to hear your life story. I don't actually care that much. Anyways, I guess that means I made you homeless for a week, which is still pretty funny. Shorter than I thought, but still worth a good chuckle. So you really have no interest at all in what I've been doing all these years? What I do for a living now? What my life is like? Fine. Whatever. If you want to spill your guts, just do it already. Actually, go ahead. I want to hear this. I want to hear all about how, for the past 7 years, I made your life a living hell where you barely eked out an existence in some crappy little apartment somewhere. I'm about to crack up just picturing it. Well, I can only imagine what a twisted little mind's imagination like yours thinks happened to me. Something horrible, I'm sure. So this might disappoint you when I say that I live a life nice enough to let me live in the same building that you're living in now. What? Are you serious? You actually live here? I thought you were just passing through. Even so, I bet it's probably some first-floor crappy little place, isn't it? It's probably nothing like that apartment that George and I live on. We're all the way up on the 26th floor, you know. And there's only 27 floors in the whole building. Basically, we're practically living at the penthouse level. How does that make you feel? 1, I'm pretty sure our building doesn't actually have a penthouse suite. And 2, are you really judging other people based on what floor of the building they live on? I think that's a pretty stupid way to think about others, so I'm not really interested in getting sucked into this. Just what someone living on the first floor would say. So tell me, what floor do you actually live on then, huh? I'm not going to tell you. Whatever. All you're doing is proving my point right now. I'm embarrassed just to be talking to some little nobody who lives all the way down there. I guess I'll just save you the embarrassment of having to tell me and retract my question. Hey, are you serious right now? Like, please tell me that it's not true. I really hope for your sake it isn't, because I am cracking up. Literally howling with laughter right now. What do you want now? Do you really work with one of Greg's business partners? What are you talking about now? You'll have to be a little more specific. About a year ago, George's dad stepped down and George became company president. You do remember that you used to be married to an heir, didn't you? Anyways, George had a meeting about an important deal at Le Mans International today. And as he was getting ready to leave and head back to his own company, he said that he saw you in the lobby looking like you were coming back from something. Oh, so that was George then? I was pretty far away, but I saw someone staring at me in the lobby and thought it might have been. But I couldn't tell for sure. So tell me, is it a part-time job? Are you a temp? Or an intern or something? Why should I tell you what my job is? So you're playing this game again then, huh? Well then, that makes the answer obvious. You're probably just there part-time. That's probably the best job you could find there. There is no way Lumon would hire some middle-aged housewife with barely any experience unless it was for some tiny little role. I am going to let you in on a little something. The only reason that I have not blocked your number is that I am merely trying to keep an eye on you. What are you talking about? You're trying to keep an eye on me? To see if I'll do what? I am not keeping this line of communication between us open so I can listen to you brag about your life while you heap insult after insult on me. And it is certainly not so that I can tell you all about my life. Wow! Someone's touchy. But sis, come on. Mom and Dad aren't with us anymore. It's just the two of us now. You can't hold this grudge forever, you know. And just who do you think you are to tell me that? First of all, we've never gotten along or had any kind of love for each other, even when we were little. Second of all, you stole my husband and kicked me out of my own home. I will hold on to whatever I want as long as I want. Thank you very much. Oh, Minnie. Even though you're the older sister, you never were the more mature one, were you? If you would just talk to me like an adult, we could put all this behind us, you know? I don't have anything to say to you. And besides, you're forgetting who I am now. Not only am I your little sister, I am married to the president of one of Lumon's main trading partners. So I would watch your tongue when you talk to me, if you know what's good for you. Who knows? I might let word slip to George and convince him to pull the plug on his deal with Lumon. Do you really think a company as big as that is going to let some peon like you keep their job when something that big is on the line? Just remember where you stand. What company does George actually work at again? Bodacorp. Don't even pretend like you forgot. Ah, that's right. Well, they are one of our trading partners, I'll give you that much. But I also know that after George's father died, the only reason that the job went to him was because it was left to him in the will. Not for skill or any kind of practical reason. I am going to let that one slide, Minnie. But you are on very, very thin ice. I would be extra careful not to upset me. Got it? Well, how about this for upsetting? This month, I am going to cease any trade with Boda. How does that work for you? Excuse me? What is that supposed to be? Some kind of joke? Minnie, what have you done? What is going on? What is it now? Yesterday, when you said you were going to cut off Boda. What did you mean by that? George is freaking out right now. He told me the reason he went to Lumon yesterday was to meet with their CEO to negotiate holding onto one of their biggest contracts. Oh, right. That. Yeah, he went, but he couldn't meet with her. Isn't that right? Don't play games with me. He told me that the CEO who refused to meet with him was actually you all along. That is correct. I am the CEO of Lumon. I started the company myself about 5 years ago. No. It can't be. You're lying to me, right? I am not lying. And I am assuming George had to know who I really was before coming to the meeting as well. I guess he just didn't want to tell you to protect your pride, probably. What? But that can't be. You said that you were just working there part-time. You can't be a part-time CEO. You're a liar. Actually, I never answered your question, if you'll remember correctly. You just decided that that must mean that I was only working there part-time. Go ahead and scroll up through our earlier messages. It is all laid out there pretty plainly for you to see. Oh, and one more thing. We never talked about this. But now that we're in touch again, I think we should talk about this. Talk about what? What other nightmares do you have to drop on me? I am talking about the alimony. Really? You mean from the divorce? Well, the time period when you could have collected that is long gone now. Sucks for you, huh? Oh, you always let your ego and arrogance get the better of you. But I've actually already collected the money. Every single cent. What? When? I never remember paying you. It was 7 years ago, when you two kicked me out of my own home in the middle of the night. It was true that for that night I had no place I could go to and was homeless, but the next day my best friend who was abroad for a business trip came home. I searched their flight online and found out when the airplane would be landing so that I would know when I could talk to her. I explained to her what had happened and asked for her help. Of course, she did help me, and even introduced me to a good private detective and lawyer. After that, everything fell into place rather quickly. After about a month, George had paid me a lump sum alimony which totaled about $50,000. You mean that George had to pay you $50,000? Judging from your reaction, I am guessing that he never told you about all of this. Well, whatever. It doesn't change anything now. And besides, you still haven't answered my question. Lumon is about to cut ties with Boda. You have to do something. I have to do something? And what makes you say that? Come on! This has gone on long enough. Just say that the deal is back on and this cannot be over. This is a direct order from the wife of Boda's president. Do you hear me? Direct order? Please, Alexa, don't make me laugh. Don't you think that George has already come trying to beg me to change my mind? I could hear the panic in his voice over the phone. That's because the deal meant far more to Boda than it did to us. That is to say, my company was always the one holding all the cards. Wait. No. That can't be right. Boda is a huge company, isn't it? Let me try and break this down for you a little bit more precisely. In a nutshell, I was only allowing Boda to continue to do business with Lumon as a formality. In a lot of ways, I was letting George keep his job by continuing the previous agreement in the first place. And the only reason I didn't cancel earlier was because we started doing business back when George's father was still in charge. Of course, once George himself took over, the quality of work coming from Boda showed a noticeable decline. For about 3 months straight, they've been making some especially egregious mistakes. And that is what is really motivating this decision. Keeping the deal with Boda anymore would just be bad business and detrimental to Lumon. That's why I decided to end the deal and start a new one with a similar company in a similar industry. What? No! You can't do that! You can't make a decision like this over a couple of mistakes! You know, this is why George got sick of you and got with me. You have no sense of flexibility or understanding for others. You just want things done your way. Alexa, this decision is literally the epitome of business, not personal. Please don't muddy the two. You're doing it again! You can't do this! Besides, it's not like I didn't give George plenty of chances. I sent him numerous messages telling him to improve his performance and fix his mistakes, or else there would be consequences. But I guess he never thought that it would really come to this and ignored me when I was being more than fair. That's not true. I don't believe it. This is all just a revenge plot. Say what you like. It doesn't change the facts of the matter. As CEO of Lumon, it is my job to ensure that the company is always doing things that are in its best interests. I have employees whose livelihoods I need to worry about. And in order to do that, it means ending deals when they've gone bad and starting new ones that will benefit the company. That's inhuman! You're just like some kind of sick calculating robot who only cares about the bottom line. For the last time, this is what business is. In this world, you need to be able to make decisions by calmly thinking about what is best for the company. I have explained to you how I came to my decision after giving George plenty of chances. And my decision is final. You're just being stubborn. You're just trying to get back at us. Now, if you want to get personal, why don't we talk about Rick? What? Don't you remember when we were in high school and you mistakenly thought that I had a crush on him? So you seduced him to try and bully me? Well, he's working at Boda through nepotism with some higher-up working there. And what does he have to do with anything? That was so long ago and has nothing to do with the current situation, so I really don't see why you brought him up. We should just drop this and get back to what matters. Alexa, do you even realize the grave that you're digging for yourself right now? And what is that supposed to mean? I am talking about yesterday, when George saw me in the lobby of Lumon. The one who actually pointed me out to him was Rick. Okay, so what? You're still not addressing the question. Well, George always knew that I was CEO of Lumon. So when we were all in the lobby, I expected him to say something to me. Only he didn't and walked past me as if I didn't exist. Rick, on the other hand, did notice me and was staring at me the whole time. Then, yesterday, he messaged me talking about how I was working here part-time. You're not making any sense. Just get to the point. Patience. I asked Rick where he heard that from, and he said that he heard it from you. Wait. No, Minnie. You've got it wrong. Well, I started trying to fit some of the pieces together in my head. And what it led me to was, it's true, at best a guess. But I took that guess and reached out to Rick's wife. And she went through his phone and some of his stuff to check out that guess. No, you're wrong. And wouldn't you know it? But heaps and heaps of evidence of the affair between you two was there on full display. What? What have you done? You don't know what's really going on here. By the way, Rick's wife is sitting right next to me. What is she doing there? Well, after all that happened, I told her I knew a good lawyer she could call. I think she is very much looking forward to seeing both of you in court soon. You're kidding me. That can't be right. Oh, and by the way, I reached out to George as well. You what? What are you trying to do? You're ruining my life. Minnie, give me my money back. What money? I need the alimony money George paid you. I need to use it to pay my alimony to George. Minnie, this is serious. I'm not messing around right now. Give me that money. I really have no idea why Alexa would think that I would give her that money. Finally, her lawyer had to sit her down and explain to her that the money was not something she could recall like a loan and that it wasn't hers to use. I guess in the end, she understood, more or less. Alex and Rick both ended up owing quite a hefty sum to both of their spouses. And in the end, Alexa, who stole George from me originally in the hopes that she would live the life of a pampered housewife, fell to her knees in shock at the amount she would have to cough up. My poor little sister was left with no one to call on for help. Now she works hard every day at a dead-end job the loan office introduced to her so that she can finally be free of all her debt. As for Rick, he managed to pull enough favors and finagle enough in loans to pay his alimony in a lump sum. But after that he ran off, never to be seen again. Without the business deal with Lumon, George's Boda quickly fell into bankruptcy and shut down.
Good evening, Natasha. It would have been nice of you to reach out to me through text at some point, but I suppose I'll have to take the initiative since you won't. But I don't have time to discuss matters and proper etiquette with you. I need to get straight to the point. You still aren't pregnant, are you? I haven't been receiving any updates about your situation. I don't know what I expected from a daughter-in-law that never reaches out. You and Tucker have been married for almost 2.5 years now. Did you know that it's often said that marriages that go without children within the first 3 years are doomed to fall apart? It's often best that both parties agree to a divorce and move on. You do realize you're getting very close to reaching that point. Far be it from me to give any unwanted criticism, but if I were in your situation, I would strongly consider preparing documents for a divorce if you don't have much hope for children within the next 6 months.
It's nice to hear from you, Abigail,
I barely remember the last time you and I spoke with one another. That's some way to address your mother-in-law. I knew you lacked manners, but it seems you've gone and outdone yourself. But you're not my mother-in-law. Why, I never. What has gotten into you? I'm sorry, but have I done something to upset you? I don't really understand where all the hostility is coming from. For starters, you could show a little bit more respect. Maybe you don't want to hear the truth and you've been in denial all this time, but you can't blame anyone for the troubles you've been experiencing. You would do well to remember your place and show some respect. You've got to be the most disrespectful woman I have ever met. I'm really sorry, but I'm still totally lost. What are you so upset about? We haven't spoken in who knows how long. I don't think I've said anything rude to you in the short conversation we've been having. If you could go ahead and clarify, I'd be very grateful. Then maybe I can try to piece together where you're going with this conversation. And to think I was going to give you an opportunity to apologize for what you said earlier. Your ill-mannered ignorance is excusable, but it seems more and more like you're just trying to irritate me. I'm not doing anything to deliberately annoy you, but apparently you've woken up on the wrong side of the bed today. How am I not your mother-in-law when you're married to my son? I'm sure even you understand how that all works. Stop acting so foolish. I am well aware of how marriage works, Abigail. You don't need to explain it to me. But Tucker and I have been divorced for some time now. That would also mean that you're in fact not my mother-in-law. At least not anymore. Maybe that will answer what questions you have for me right now? Divorce? What are you talking about? Wait. You don't know that we're divorced? Have you really not heard anything from Tucker? When did you talk to him last? Again, what are you talking about? What divorce? You shouldn't joke about those kind of things, Natasha. You will manifest very negative outcomes in your life if you act so carelessly. But it isn't a joke. I'm telling you the truth. We aren't married anymore. The fact that the two of you have already wasted so much time not having children is already enough cause for concern. I'd appreciate if you could be a little bit more serious about this and cope with your stress in some other fashion. Are you just deliberately ignoring everything I'm trying to tell you? I told you I've had more than enough of your jokes. They aren't amusing in the slightest. You've got less than half a year, Natasha. That's barely 6 months. If you're planning on having children, I'd highly suggest you seriously consider getting a real divorce rather than pulling my leg about it when I'm trying to help you. But we already did. It's not a joke. Maybe you should ask him yourself if you don't believe me. I don't need to hear excuses from you. You know what you need to do. Or should I explain the situation to you again so that it'll set in? I get the feeling that you aren't taking any of this seriously. People that don't have children within 3 years of being married do not have healthy relationships. You're cutting it very close to your deadline. You have 6 months, Natasha. 6 months. Does any of that not make sense to you? You're treading on thin ice if you want to make this marriage with Tucker work. I'm only trying to get you to understand all of this because I'm thinking about what is at stake here with your future. And I am trying to explain to you that we are already divorced. What is so hard for you to get? Your concern is appreciated but misplaced. Please listen to what I'm telling you. I would like to have grandchildren before I move on from this life to the next. Tucker would like to have children as well, of course. It's a bit selfish of you to keep both of us waiting. Stop ignoring me and listen. You've turned this short conversation into a theatrical performance. We are not married anymore. The excuses need to stop. You keep trying to change the subject and aren't listening to anything I'm trying to tell you. Have you lost your mind? Enough, Natasha. You have 6 months, and you are rapidly losing time trying to argue with me over my concerns. You shouldn't take this personally, rather as encouragement. I want what's best for you, so don't let me down. Natasha, I haven't heard from you in some time now. I'd like an update once in a while if it's at all possible. I'd hate to trouble you while you're hopefully taking to heart what I told you. You've only got about 3 months left. Have you thought about what we talked about? Have you made any progress at all? You really are something else, you know that? Are you just going to ignore me then? I show some concern about the future of you and your family, and this is the thanks I get? I'm not ignoring you, but if you're still hoping for some kind of big news update, I'm afraid you'll be disappointed. Can you just be honest with me for a moment? What exactly is your plan with all of this? I don't understand what you're trying to accomplish here.
Really? What are you even getting at? Shouldn't I be asking you the exact same question? You keep acting as if you haven't got the slightest clue what I'm talking about. How about promising to keep in contact regularly now that we aren't all living together anymore? Did you forget about that too? How can you treat family so poorly? You only had been married for 6 months before you decided to move out without even letting me know beforehand. It's like you don't place any value on communication.
Maybe this is something you should have considered in the first place. But when a couple gets a divorce, usually they don't continue to live with one another, let alone their parents. And it's not exactly commonplace for people to stay in regular contact with their divorced spouse and again, their family. I thought this was all common sense.
Are you still rambling on about that nonsense? You know I still don't believe a word of it.
I'm not surprised in the slightest. You never listened to anything I told you. You don't care about how things are normally done, apparently. I'm just telling you the truth, and you don't seem to want to accept any of it.
Is that what you think? You think everyone acts like you? Is that it? Do you think everyone treats promises like you do? Like they mean nothing? I hate to break it to you, but most people keep the promises that they make.
Okay, but you're still forgetting a really important detail that kind of changes all of the context in this situation. Tucker and I got divorced a while ago. We aren't together anymore. I keep trying to tell you, and you refuse to listen to me.
And I've been telling you to stop with the jokes. It wasn't funny before, and it isn't funny now. I am trying to help you, Natasha. Your marriage is on the brink of falling apart, and I'm trying to get you to realize that. Why is that so hard for you to understand? You're being incredibly selfish when someone is trying to help you. Your life as you know it could change drastically, and all you can do is make jokes and act selfish.
Enough already! I don't need you to help me with anything.
I don't think you realize what you're saying. You need more help than you know. I've told you that marriages don't last when you don't put in the effort. If you don't have children, your marriage is doomed to fail. Do you understand that time is quickly running out? You've only got 3 months left until you've been married for 3 years. That's not much time at all. If you'd like to have a strong and healthy marriage, I'd highly suggest that you start making some important decisions in the near future.
I think I'm going to lose my mind. I don't understand why you're being deliberately ignorant. I don't know how to get it through your thick skull that you are living in a fantasy world where things are clearly not the way you perceive them.
I think that makes 2 of us, then.
How many times have I told you now that we aren't together? I've moved on with my life, and it's about time that you do too. You're stuck in the past. It's time you moved on too. If you want grandchildren so badly, maybe you should encourage your son to start looking for a new wife. Or maybe you can find one for him. Either way, you need to move on. Whatever you do, I'd prefer if you leave me be. I'm getting a little tired of you pestering me.
You are throwing your entire life away.
I need to go. Sorry to cut this short.
Hello, Natasha. I hope you're having a good evening. I suppose I should be congratulating you on your 3-year anniversary. I still haven't heard anything about whether or not you're pregnant, so I'm going to assume the worst. It really is a shame that there wasn't anything you could do to save your marriage. You've also managed to go several more months without reaching out to me. Why is it so difficult for you to talk to your mother-in-law now and then?
I thought we were finished with this. I don't want to go through all of this with you again. You're going to ignore everything I have to tell you, as always. Why do you keep this up?
I see you're still acting as rude as ever. I hope by now you would have changed at least a little.
Your definition of rude and my definition are clearly drastically different from one another. I still don't see how telling you the honest truth is rude. If anything, I think it's kind of me to be so patient with you.
I've tried to be patient with you myself, but it seems I can only do so much to try to help you. I can tell you're content with throwing away what little potential you had. You're totally helpless. I don't know why I even bothered when clearly this is all some joke to you. You don't care about anything. If you aren't planning on having children or just incapable, you and Tucker need to get a divorce immediately. Of all the people to call someone else helpless, you are one to talk. Clearly, you have no idea what is going on with your own family, so I'll have to fill you in. I've told you before, and I'll say it again. Tucker and I are not married. I married another man a while ago. I have already started my own family. Is this another joke? You can't be serious. You married to someone else? Yes, it was 2.5 years ago. And you already have children? Yes, a 6-month-old. And I'm sure you can put 2 and 2 together. It's not your grandchild. You can't be serious. You don't really expect me to believe this, do you? It's the truth. I've been trying to explain to you from the very beginning. The first time you messaged me months ago out of nowhere was already incredibly strange. I had to do some investigating. Tuck also remarried. Were you not aware? He married another woman about 2.5 years ago as well. This has to be a joke. What are you even saying? This doesn't make a bit of sense. How could you already have a family with someone else? We just met at family gathering only several months ago. What do you have to say about that? I'd like to hear your explanation. You do know I have a twin sister, right? Twin sister? You know, now that you mention it, I do remember she came to the wedding. After Tucker and I divorced, I haven't been back to Greensboro even once. You haven't come back to visit at all? Yes, I've gone out of my way to stay far away from there. I decided it would be best for my mental health. I moved rather far away too. Anyway, back to what I was originally saying. I actually didn't know about this until recently too. It turns out the day after Tucker and I were divorced, he proposed to my sister and they got married. Tucker married your sister? There was a lot going on back when Tucker and I got divorced and I moved away. Just 6 months in, our marriage had already been struggling. Our personalities were never a perfect match for one another, but more and more problems came up as time went on. Even in our daily lives, we were arguing over small things. We came to an agreement that the both of us would be better off if we weren't together. It was too difficult for us to work through our problems. We had been proceeding with the divorce rather amicably, but it didn't last long. I eventually found out that part of it, if not the entire reason why things hadn't been going well between Tucker and I, was because he had been cheating on me with my sister. It came as a huge surprise to me. I never would have expected him to stab me in the back like that. When I found out, I almost couldn't believe it. It was too absurd to be real. It's the truth, though, for better or for worse. I can't believe this. So you really haven't been with Tucker all this time? That's what I've been trying to tell you. Tucker and I are not together and have not been for a while. He's been married to Emily all this time. I don't understand. None of this makes sense. This is the first I've heard any of this. Why haven't I heard anything about this from anyone? Yes, that much is apparent. Although I did try to tell you from the beginning that I wasn't married to Tucker anymore, that part fell on deaf ears. But why wouldn't Tucker tell me about it? I can't imagine why he wouldn't want to tell his mother about having done something as awful as cheating on his wife. Your guess is as good as mine. I'm still his mother, though. Didn't Tucker's sister end up getting a divorce because she'd been cheating on her husband? It's kind of similar to Tucker's situation. You were pretty upset about the whole situation, if I recall correctly. You do remember, don't you? It was pretty incredible how you nearly destroyed everything around the house in your fit of rage. You were really frustrated with her. Maybe Tucker remembered how upset you got and didn't want to share with you that he had done something similar that might cause another situation like that to occur. It seems like Tucker really capitalized on the fact that Emily and I are identical twins and had her pretend as though nothing had changed in terms of who he was married to. The reunion you mentioned earlier, which I did not attend, was Emily going, in place of me. I imagine she played the part she was told to by Tucker. I would say that she did a good job too. This is just from what I know now that I've looked into the situation a bit more since you first reached out to me. This is absolutely insane! If I had to guess, my parents are probably completely on board with my sister's degeneracy. They think she can do nothing wrong. They approve of this? Yes, unfortunately. They're almost as unreasonable as my sister. But now that you know the truth, you need to make some decisions going forward. The truth will come out eventually, whether you decide to take a proactive role in that or not.
Yes, you are right. I hadn't thought about what could come next. I never anticipated something like this could happen. I understand that you are no longer a part of our family. I should have listened to what you were trying to tell me before. There's no point in us talking any longer, though. I don't think I have any more to say to you. If you'll excuse me, then I need to figure some things out.
Oh, are you busy? Do you really think that this all ends as simple as that?
What do you mean? What more is there?
Oh, nothing really, I suppose. But before you go, I should be thanking you for everything you've done for me.
Thanking me? I haven't done anything for you.
It's all thanks to you, thinking I was still married to Tucker and your constant messages that you flooded me with in the past few months. I never would have figured out about the horrible things that my sister did behind my back with Tucker if not for that.
Oh, well, I suppose when you put it that way.
If I didn't know, I wouldn't have been able to sue Tucker.
You're suing him?
Of course. He lied to me and betrayed me. I'm very grateful that you allowed me such a fortuitous opportunity to learn the truth. I really appreciate it.
What can you even sue him for, though? It's not like you can increase your alimony or anything.
Unfortunately, my alimony ended as soon as I remarried. That's why I'm just going to sue him for emotional damages. Unfortunately, at the moment, it seems that Tucker is unemployed. It's very unfortunate circumstances to be in at the moment.
He's unemployed? How in the world did he lose his job?
I'm not exactly sure about all the details of the incident, but it looks like he made one too many mistakes at work that caused him to lose his job. I can't pretend like I care any more than I do, though. I bet he'll be asking you to help him pay for the lawsuit, so I hope you'll be able to help your son out in these trying times.
Wait, hang on. Me? How can you expect me to help him?
What exactly is the problem? Don't you want to help your son out?
How could you do this? We've already struggled with covering all the costs that came with my daughter's divorce. We had to use so much of our savings. It took us nearly everything to cover all of that, and she hasn't even repaid us. We haven't heard anything from her in a while. I don't know if we'll ever see the rest of that money that she owes us.
I see. That's a really difficult situation to be in. I don't care where the money comes from, to be honest. As long as I'm paid the full amount, the details don't matter to me.
Don't you understand how difficult this is going to be for us?
Maybe, but I'm sure you'll all be able to figure something out. Thank you in advance.
How could you be so cruel? I'm telling you that we don't have any money. How do you expect us to be able to afford this? I was your mother-in-law. We were family. Can't you be a little understanding of our situation? How can you do this knowing it's going to hurt us? I thought of you as my daughter.
Is that really how you felt? When you thought I was still married to your son, you demanded I get a divorce because you thought we weren't having children. I don't think you even really knew how you feel. Your whole world has been completely turned around over the course of the past few months, and you only now realize it? I almost feel sorry for you.
I can't believe you're going to do this to me.
Like you said earlier, I don't have anything else that I need to say, so that's all for me.
You don't have to do this. We aren't going to be able to manage any more debt.
This is long overdue, but I will be blocking your number now.
Natasha, don't you dare block my number.
After my last conversation with my former mother-in-law, I heard about what transpired next from a friend of mine that lives close to their home. Abigail called Tucker and Emily and demanded to speak with them as soon as possible for an important discussion. Though it was a discussion only in name, as there was a lot more furniture thrown around and yelling than most civil conversations, the altercation was so loud that everyone in the neighborhood could hear, and eventually the police were called to check up on the family. While the police stepped in to de-escalate the situation, it wasn't a permanent remedy to any of their new problems. Abigail wouldn't cover the costs of the lawsuit, and eventually she and Tucker refused to talk to one another. She couldn't stand knowing that her reputation would be tied to both of her children ruining marriages through infidelity, and decided to move out of town. No one is sure where she moved to.
As for my cheating ex-husband and sister, they've fallen on hard times paying the damages from my lawsuit. The sudden rise in tension between Tucker and I was something that had always bothered me, as though there was a piece of the story that I'd been missing. I'm glad that I finally know what happened and can get some closure. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video and want to see more like it, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe.